In recent weeks, Ugandans have witnessed an increasing number of petitions being taken to court in the public interest. Someone has petitioned court to have the grave of a 39-year-old socialite opened so that national currency that his friends threw onto the coffin at burial can be recovered. A group of distressed Christians want court to stop controversial preacherman Pastor Bujingo from burning Bibles, which he reportedly does when the faithful surrender copies of those versions which contain the words Holy Ghost. Last year, it was Inspector General of Police General Kale Kaihura who narrowly survived the humiliation of standing in the dock to answer charges of assaulting political opposition supporters in a private prosecution instituted by angry activists. A mob of youth stormed the court and disrupted the proceeding, and the Director of Public Prosecutions took over the case and has since been shelved. In the past, when Ugandans disagreed politically, they picked up guns and went to the bush. After the last change of government occurred in 1986, those who tried the armed option afterwards kept failing. Others even took the streets where tear gas dispersed them. Now Ugandans are increasingly choosing the most civilized route whenever they are aggrieved politically or otherwise, by going to the courts of law in the public interest. But the first such high-profile case of public interest was lodged nearly 4 decades ago when the youthful Dr. Paulo Kawanga Semogere went to court to challenge the removal of the first post-Amin president, Professor Yusuf Lule. Interestingly, court ruled in Semogere's favor that, indeed, Lule was illegally removed from office. But the ruling came a bit late, over a year since the act, and even after the removal of Godfrey Binaisa, the man who replaced Lule in State House. After a lull of 1.5 decades, General David Tinyefuza grabbed headlines when he took the army to court, demanding to be allowed to retire, protesting being forced to supply his labor without his consent. He eventually lost in the Supreme Court and ended up back in the army. A couple of decades and sting in exile later, Tinyefuza, now called Sejusa, is back in court over the same matter of wanting to retire. In 2001, President Museveni faced the first job-threatening challenge when his former personal doctor and ally, Colonel Chiza Besje, stood against him for the presidency. After Museveni was declared winner, Besje dragged him and the Electoral Commission to court. The petition was dismissed narrowly. After Besje, Semogere came back with his petitions, mostly against the actions of the NRM government, which he had quit in 1996 to stand in the country's first direct presidential elections. He kept winning his constitutional cases. Other politicians like Muwanga Chivumbi started slowly following suit and also winning. In 2005, Major Baramira Ranga, who was then in charge of the Forum for Democratic Change's Electoral Commission, filed a petition challenging the holding of the local council 1 and 2 elections without the setting up of enabling laws under the new multi-party political dispensation. Subsequently, the local council 1 and 2 elections had been scheduled for August 10th, 2006, were indefinitely postponed until today. So those local council officials who have not died have been in office for 17 years, long enough for Baramira to go back to NRM and denounce the FDC. On August 1st, 2014, the Constitutional Court nullified the anti-gay law after a group of gay activists, including West Budama MP Fox Odoi, journalist Andrew Mwenda, Dr. Paul Nsubuga Semugoma, Jacqueline Kasha Nabagesera, Julian Pepe Onziema, successfully petitioned against the law in the Constitutional Court, which ruled that the law was passed without quorum. On April 18th, 2017, activists dragged Uganda Communications Commission to the High Court, challenging the SIM card subscriber verification process. Thereafter, a lecturer of mathematics and economics at Bishop Stewart University petitioned the Constitutional Court challenging the appointment of General Katumba Wamala and the Charazinga of Busoga Wilberforce Nadiope Gabula as Minister and Special Envoy, respectively, and saw the petitions continue pouring in.